Today you're a police detective and you get to the crime scene. What you see, it's a corpse on the floor, 2 stabbing wounds, a kitchen knife full of blood next to it, and the corpse is holding a hate note. I give you 2 possible explanations. Number 1, the guy was a writer. He wrote the hate note as a aid for his next novel. Then he went to the kitchen, wanted to prepare a sandwich, got the kitchen knife, slipped, stabbed himself by accident, then with all the blood slipped again and stabbed himself again, and this is why he's dead. Second hypothesis, it was a hate crime. So if you were the police detective, which one would you start investigating first? If you have chosen the second one, you have already used the mental model I want to explain you today. Occam's Razor. My name is Borja Marin, this is Corporate Cat. Let's begin. Today's mental model is the Occam's Razor. A little bit of history, but not much, don't worry. Occam's Razor is, it was formulated by William of Occam. It was an English scholastic philosopher. What is the principle of Occam's Razor? If I read the definition, it says it's a principle that suggests that among competing hypotheses or explanations, the one with the fewest assumptions should be preferred. Basically, what it means is for many of the phenomena happening around us, the easiest explanation should be the most common explanation, or should be actually the correct explanation. For example, I'm going to give you another example in which we can see the Occam's razors being used on our normal everyday. When you go to your general practitioner, to your doctor, probably you're going to say a number of symptoms. You have like fever and runny nose. So the most simple explanation for that is probably you have a flu. And he will act on that to try to discard it. Probably there is a bacteria somewhere in the forest of the Amazons that can cause something similar and so on, but it's very unlikely that this is the cause of your running nose and your fever. So this is why your doctor will start by discarding the most possible cause. Now, I want to mention a couple of risks for this mental model. As I explained before in my previous videos, you can see them somewhere here. I hope that I pointed in the right side this time. As I said before, no mental model is correct, but all of them have some truth in them. Now, what are the biggest risks with Occam's Razor? I have taken only 2 of them. First, oversimplification. We live in a very complex world, and sometimes we don't have all the information and we may skip parts of all what is happening. So the more experts we are in a topic, the easier will be to use the Occam's Razor mental model, because we will know more of what is happening. When we lack information, it's very, very possible that by using Occam's Razor, we are skipping a number of layers of complexities of the case of stabbing. So this is the first risk, oversimplification. The second risk I want to talk about, it's our historic or cultural bias. We all have some bias based on experiences that we had lived. This can make that our assumptions are wrong when we're using the Occam's Razor principle. For example, if I have at my work different teams and one is not performing well for the time, and then 8 months later I see there is a drop in our metrics, I can think that because there is this team that was not working well, now we are dropping our metrics. But maybe the whole team has changed already and I'm being victim of my own bias because I didn't like this team, or I have the experience that this team is not working well, right? So very important when, as I explained before, Occam's Razor is another tool, very simple but very powerful. But remember, it's only a tool and it should be used together with the rest of the tools that we're explaining. and always being aware that this is not a perfect principle. Now let's go for the practical part, and I want to explain to you the different examples I have put together today. And today I wanted to focus on our own vision of reality. So the examples I have chosen are examples that touches our own beliefs, because I think that ourselves are the person that is easiest to fool. And sometimes I like to use Occam's Razor to just challenge my own beliefs. And I hope that this can be useful for you too, okay? So let's begin, like always, same pattern in the previous videos, with the individual contributor example. Let's say you're, in your company, you're an agent there, or you're a trainer, you're in whatever position. You have been applying for, let's say, a team leader position inside your company and in another company. So you have done 8, 9, 10 applications. In all of them, you have failed. Now, there is something like very common I have seen, like excuses like, oh yeah, it was not the moment, or these people they didn't like my nationality, or they didn't understand what I wanted to say, they didn't appreciate my experience, they have already something else in mind. While all of this could be true, the first idea that we should challenge based on the Occam's Razor principle is like, we are not prepared for the position. If I have failed for the team leader position in 5 different or 6 different companies 10 times, probably there is something wrong in my way of communicating, on my skills, what I expect of the role, and so on. Okay? And it doesn't mean that it's actually not true to any of your beliefs about not wanting you for whatever other reason. But Occam's Razor says that the easiest explanation is that you are not prepared, and this needs to be the first thing that you challenge, okay? And this is sometimes very difficult to face, right? Second example, let's say that you are already like this team leader, or you're a team manager, you're managing a team, 15, 20, whatever people. But in the same environment, there are other teams, same size, they are doing same work as your team. And your team's performance is constantly on the bottom. Now, another thing that I have heard many times is blaming environmental causes, like the tasks that my team is doing are more difficult, more complex, they are more bothered because they're in the part of the office that there are more noise, these kind of things. Probably the first thing that you need to look into that is like, are you doing a good job as a manager? Because if there are 5 teams and there is one that during 6 months in a row, it's performing worse than the other 4 or 5 teams that you have, probably Occam's Razor principle will say that they don't understand either what is the target, the vision of the project, the communication from your side as a manager is not good, they are not motivated, they are non-diligent, they lack skills, they lack direction. Don't get yourself all caught up into the idea like, yeah, I'm so good, it must be something else. But challenge the first hypothesis first is they are not performing well because they are bad at their job for some reason. And you need to look into that. And again, it doesn't mean that they are really bad. Like maybe any of the second reasons that you have in mind are true, but the first thing that you need to check is the easiest explanation. Now, your own business. Let's say, for example, that you own a restaurant, okay? And in the last 6 months, your ratings on different pages are going down, or they are going lower. There is something happening. So again, if we apply Occam's Razor principle, the easiest or simplest solution here will be like, your service is not as good as your competitors, your food is not as good as your competitors, your prices are not as competitive as your competitors. These and probably a couple of more things are the 5-6 things that you need to look into. Don't say like, oh, people don't understand my business model, we're going through a bad time because they gave me a bad review and then nobody wants to come, and so on, okay? So probably you need to discard first the most possible causes for this decline. This has been all for today. I hope that you enjoyed the Occam's Razor principle. Use it carefully. Remember that as a mental model, it's a tool. It's not the solution for everything, but it can give you a very good starting point if you need to open, or you need to start an investigation, or you need to start finding the causes of why something is happening. If you don't know where to start, try to apply Occam's Razor. Try to think, okay, what is the hypothesis that has less assumptions, that has less ifs? So what if no? What is the hypothesis with less assumptions on it? And you have a very strong starting point to start your research. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked it, please leave a comment, like it, share it, and see you next week. Bye.